Electrical non-metallic tubing, often referred to as Smurf tube, cannot be used on exterior walls, even if weather protected. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, dictates the approved applications for different wiring methods. Smurf tube is primarily intended for indoor use, specifically within walls, floors, and ceilings where it is not exposed to direct sunlight, physical damage, or moisture. The NEC specifies which wiring methods are suitable for wet locations, damp locations, and dry locations. Exterior walls, even those with some form of weather protection, are generally considered damp or wet locations, especially in areas with high humidity or frequent rainfall. The listing and labeling of electrical products indicate their approved uses and environmental limitations. Smurf tube is typically listed for dry locations, which means it is not designed to withstand the conditions present on exterior walls. Using Smurf tube in an unapproved application violates the NEC and could lead to several problems. Firstly, the material itself may degrade over time when exposed to moisture and UV radiation, potentially becoming brittle and cracking. This degradation can compromise the physical protection of the conductors inside. Secondly, moisture ingress can lead to corrosion of the conductors and electrical connections, increasing the risk of short circuits, ground faults, and electrical fires. Thirdly, using Smurf tube in an unapproved manner could void the product's warranty and create liability issues if a failure occurs. Approved wiring methods for exterior walls include rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, electrical metallic tubing when installed with appropriate fittings, liquid-tight flexible metal conduit, liquid-tight flexible non-metallic conduit, and certain types of cable specifically listed for outdoor use, such as underground feeder cable or some types of metal-clad cable. These wiring methods are designed to withstand the environmental conditions present on exterior walls and provide adequate protection for the conductors. When installing electrical wiring on exterior walls, it is crucial to select a wiring method that is both suitable for the environment and permitted by the NEC. This involves considering factors such as the level of moisture exposure, the potential for physical damage, and the need for corrosion resistance. Using the correct wiring method ensures the safety and reliability of the electrical system and prevents potential hazard. The NEC provides specific guidelines for selecting and installing wiring methods in different environments. These guidelines are based on extensive testing and research to ensure the safety of electrical installations. Adhering to the NEC is essential for all electrical work. To further clarify, consider the specific articles within the NEC that address wiring methods and their applications. Article 300 covers general wiring methods and requirements. Article 331 specifically addresses electrical non-metallic tubing, outlining its permitted uses and restrictions. Other relevant articles include those pertaining to rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, electrical metallic tubing, and cable types suitable for outdoor use. It is important to consult these articles to ensure compliance with the NEC. Additionally, local amendments to the NEC may exist. Local jurisdictions may have additional requirements or restrictions on the use of certain wiring methods. It is essential to check with the local electrical inspector or building department to determine if any local amendments apply. Proper installation practices are also crucial for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical installations on exterior walls. This includes using the correct fittings and connectors, providing adequate support for the wiring method, and sealing any penetrations to prevent moisture ingress. Furthermore, it is important to protect the wiring method from physical damage, such as from vehicles or other equipment. In summary, Smurf tube is not an approved wiring method for exterior walls, even if weather protected. The NEC requires the use of wiring methods specifically listed and labeled for outdoor use. Using the correct wiring method and following proper installation practices are essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical installations on exterior walls. Always consult the NEC and local amendments before beginning any electrical work. It is also recommended to consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns. Consider a scenario where an electrician installs Smurf tube on an exterior wall, thinking that the overhanging eave provides sufficient weather protection. Over time, the Smurf tube becomes brittle and cracks due to exposure to sunlight and moisture. Water enters the tubing and corrodes the conductors, leading to a short circuit. This short circuit causes a fire, which damages the building. This scenario illustrates the importance of using the correct wiring method for the environment. If the electrician had used a wiring method approved for outdoor use, such as rigid metal conduit, the fire could have been prevented. Another example is where an electrician uses Smurf tube to run wiring to an outdoor lighting fixture. The Smurf tube is exposed to direct sunlight and rain, causing it to degrade quickly. The wiring becomes exposed, creating a shock hazard. Again, this scenario highlights the need to use a wiring method that is suitable for the environment. The selection of appropriate fittings is also critical for outdoor electrical installations. Fittings must be rated for wet locations to prevent moisture from entering the wiring system. Using the wrong type of fitting can compromise the integrity of the installation and create a safety hazard. For example, using standard ENT fittings with electrical metallic tubing in a wet location can lead to corrosion and failure of the connection. Liquid-tight fittings are required for use with liquid-tight flexible metal conduit and liquid-tight flexible nonmetallic conduit to ensure a watertight seal. In addition to selecting the correct wiring method and fittings, proper installation techniques are essential for outdoor electrical installations. This includes providing adequate support for the wiring method to prevent sagging or damage. It also includes sealing any penetrations in walls or roofs to prevent moisture from entering the building. The NEC provides specific guidelines for supporting and securing wiring methods. These guidelines are designed to ensure that the wiring method is properly installed and protected from damage. Furthermore, it is important to protect outdoor wiring from physical damage. This can be accomplished by installing the wiring in a location where it is not likely to be struck by vehicles or other equipment. It can also be accomplished by using a wiring method that is resistant to physical damage, such as rigid metal conduit. Grounding is another important aspect of outdoor electrical installations. The NEC requires that all metal enclosures and equipment be properly grounded to prevent electrical shock hazards. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping a circuit breaker or fuse and de-energizing the circuit. The grounding system must be properly installed and maintained to ensure its effectiveness. In areas subject to freezing temperatures, it is important to consider the potential for ice damage to outdoor electrical installations. Ice can accumulate on wiring and equipment, adding weight and stress that can cause damage. It is also important to protect wiring from damage caused by snow removal equipment. In summary, the installation of electrical wiring on exterior walls requires careful consideration of the environmental conditions and the requirements of the NEC. Smurf tube is not an approved wiring method for this application. Using the correct wiring method, fittings, and installation techniques is essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of the electrical system. Always consult the NEC and local amendments before beginning any electrical work, and consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns. Proper planning and execution of outdoor electrical installations can prevent potential hazards and ensure the long-term performance of the electrical system. Remember to always prioritize safety and adhere to established codes and standards. Ignoring these guidelines can have serious consequences, including property damage, injury, or even death. The NEC is updated every 3 years to reflect changes in technology and best practices. It is important to stay up to date with the latest edition of the NEC to ensure that your electrical work is in compliance. Many jurisdictions also adopt local amendments to the NEC to address specific local conditions or concerns. It is important to be aware of any local amendments that apply in your area. Continuing education is essential for electricians and other electrical professionals. Keeping abreast of the latest codes, standards, and technologies allows them to provide safe and reliable electrical services. There are many resources available for continuing education, including courses, seminars, and online training programs. Professional organizations such as the Independent Electrical Contractors and the National Electrical Contractors Association offer continuing education opportunities for their members. These organizations also provide resources for staying up to date with the latest industry news and trends. The role of the electrical inspector is also crucial in ensuring the safety of electrical installations. Electrical inspectors review plans and inspect work to ensure compliance with NEC and local codes. They have the authority to reject work that does not meet code requirements. Working with the electrical inspector can help to ensure that your electrical work is safe and compliant. Establishing a good working relationship with the local electrical inspector can also streamline the permitting and inspection process. The electrical permitting process is designed to ensure that electrical work is performed safely and in accordance with code requirements. Before beginning any electrical work, it is important to obtain the necessary permits from the local building department. The permit application process typically requires submitting plans and specifications for the proposed work. The building department will review the plans to ensure that they comply with the NEC and local codes. Once the plans are approved, the building department will issue a permit to begin work. Inspections are typically required at various stages of the electrical work. The electrical inspector will inspect the work to ensure that it is being performed in accordance with the approved plans and code requirements. If the work passes inspection, the electrical inspector will sign off on the permit. Once all inspections have been completed and approved, the building department will issue a certificate of occupancy. The certificate of occupancy is required before the building can be occupied. In summary, electrical safety is a shared responsibility. Electricians, electrical inspectors, and building owners all have a role to play in ensuring that electrical installations are safe and compliant. By following the NEC local codes and best practices, we can prevent electrical hazards and protect lives and property. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous if not performed properly. If you are not qualified to perform electrical work, it is best to hire a licensed electrician. A licensed electrician has the knowledge, skills, and experience to perform electrical work safely and in accordance with code requirements. Hiring a licensed electrician can give you peace of mind knowing that your electrical work is being done correctly. It is also important to choose a licensed electrician who is insured. Insurance protects you from liability if the electrician is injured on your property or if their work causes damage. Before hiring an electrician, be sure to check their credentials and references. You can also check with the Better Business Bureau to see if there have been any complaints filed against them. Getting multiple bids from different electricians can help you to ensure that you are getting a fair price for the work. Be sure to compare the bids carefully and don't just choose the lowest bid. Consider the electrician's experience, qualifications, and reputation when making your decision. Once you have chosen an electrician, be sure to get a written contract that outlines the scope of work, the price, and the payment schedule. The contract should also include a clause that states that the electrician will be responsible for obtaining all necessary permits. By following these tips, you can find a qualified and reliable electrician who can perform your electrical work safely and in accordance with code requirements. Remember to always prioritize safety and consult with a qualified professional if you have any questions or concerns about electrical work.